Hi, welcome back to Soul Light Reflections. Wow, I have so much on my mind right now, so much I want to share, so much on my heart, and I felt really called to just jump on and start recording this episode, even though that was not on my to-do list today. But wow, there are so many different directions I could go in with this episode. There's, like I said, so much on my mind, so much on my heart. And I know I already said that, but it's hard to siphon through. I guess the number one thing on my mind right now is about consciousness and this idea of God, universal intelligence, source energy, Yahweh, Allah, like whatever you want to call it. I've been thinking a lot about this concept lately. I've had the same stance for, I would say, probably most of my life, which is everyone is just doing the best that they can with what they have. And everyone needs something to believe in. And by believing in a higher power, a higher energy, for most people, that is the thing that will get them through the toughest, the darkest of times. And over centuries, there have been lots of different teachings, lots of different ways to describe this energy, this entity. And at the root of it all, every religious teaching essentially teaches what we know in spirituality to be the truth, which is one simple fact that there is consciousness, a divine consciousness that runs between and through every single one of us. And it just kind of sickens me that religion, specifically, all of these different religions have become so corrupt. And I know that that's kind of a blanket statement, but I truly believe it, that every single religion out there to a certain extent has become corrupt, has changed to the point of needing so much power, so much money. I think that those are the top two things that create corruption. And while I do think that there are some really powerful, really beautiful teachings and rituals and ceremonies and concepts behind all religion, the root of it all is just trying to find some sort of meaning as to what the fuck we're doing on this planet as souls in human bodies. So to be completely honest, the reason that this came up to my mind and I felt really called to record an episode about this is because I first wanted to talk on social media about it. I wanted to post a couple videos talking about this, and I realized that while I may find a way to do that a little bit more like generically and neutral, this is my platform to speak about this on because, first of all, it felt like it needed to be longer form. And second of all, this came to my mind because of someone on my Facebook that reached out to me and really sparked this thought process. So it does feel important to share this conversation, and I'm going to read it to you. So I'm going to start by saying I posted on Facebook and Instagram a poem that just completely flowed out of me 2 days ago. I'll read that to you first, and then we'll go from there. I'm trying to keep this really reeled in for you so that you can follow, but my brain is actually in a million places, so bear with me. This is the poem that I wrote that I shared on social media 2 days ago. It says, "When I was younger, I was told to find God in a church through hymns that sounded beautiful but never felt resonant. I was taught that God was to be equally feared and revered, but that never made sense to me. So I found God on my own, but not in the way I was taught to find God growing up. I found God in the trees. I found God in movement. I found God in dance. I found God in music. I found God in myself. I found God in each one of you. We are all God. We are not just pieces. We are it. God is not a person. God is not a thing. God is a feeling. God is an energy. God flows between and through every living being. We are all embodiments of God. Embodying God means aligning with your highest activation of self. Embodying God means tapping into the idea that you are not your body, you are not your mind, you are a soul in an experience on this sacred planet. Embodying God means treating every being with love and respect, spreading light into every corner of your world. You are God. I am God. We are all God. We are all connected as one consciousness, experiencing in infinite ways during every single moment in time. Whether you call it God, Source, Yahweh, universal energy, or something completely different, we are all experiencing the same thing. The name does not matter. Take a deep breath and intentionally tap into the knowing, the feeling, the indescribable love right now. It is always within you, within me, within us. So, as I'm sure you can feel, this was straight from the soul, straight from my heart. And I got a lot of really good response from this. A lot of people resonating and saying, wow, I've never heard it put into words like this, but that really, really resonates. And I felt very humbled and grateful to be able to share those words with the people that needed to hear it. And then this morning, I woke up to a message on Facebook from this girl that I went to middle school with and have not talked to since then. And she messaged me this morning and said, okay, this might sound strange because I barely know you, but I felt like I should pray for you yesterday, which first of all, to me is a red flag. Whenever you are reaching out to someone and said, I prayed for you with like no antecedent, like that, I don't know, it rubs me the wrong way. Then I hopped on Facebook and I saw a status you made yesterday, which now I am messaging you. Ha 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 ha. Can I ask you a personal question? LOL. So I'm already skeptical, right? Because I'm like, I feel like maybe I remember seeing posts from this girl before about like Jesus and stuff. And mind you, I will get into this in a second, but I have nothing against anyone who like believes in Jesus, follows Jesus's teachings. Like I will definitely get into this. But to reach out with no antecedent, it's not like I reached out on Facebook and said, I'm going through a really hard time. Please, you guys send prayers, like anything like that. I literally just shared this poem a couple days ago, along with like other things since then of like things that I'm hosting, like really positive messages. Like I am genuinely in such a fucking good place in my life. And so I think that when you are feeling so grounded in yourself and so authentic in your being, and then you receive a message like that, you're like, wait, am I like doing something wrong? Like, am I like reading my life wrong? Like, why is someone feeling the need to pray for me out of nowhere? So I knew that I needed to keep a boundary here. And so I responded, that is random, LOL. You can ask the question, but please don't be offended if I don't feel comfortable sharing the answer for some reason, smiley face. I'm wondering why you felt called to pray for me, LOL. I'm doing wonderfully, have literally never been happier in my life, but hey, I appreciate the good vibes, with another smiley face. Because I'm not ever going to shame someone for feeling intuitively like they were supposed to reach out. If you feel intuitively like you need to do anything, please, by all means do it. And I will never stop someone from doing that just because I don't align with their beliefs. So her response was honestly a little bit different than what I thought, but at the same time not. She said, LOL, totes. And you just popped in my head. Who is Jesus? Like that was the whole response. You just popped in my head. Who is Jesus? So I'm like, oh my gosh, really? Like could have guessed that, but at the same time, just asking so blatantly, just like, who's Jesus? Okay. First of all, a little background. I grew up in the Catholic Church. I grew up in the Catholic Church from when I was born up until like 8th grade. I want to say 4th or 5th grade, I literally went to my mom and was like, I don't understand any of this. I don't believe any of this. I don't want to do this anymore. And she was like, well, you have to keep going to like Sunday school and what was called like CCD. I forget what it stood for, but like Christian something or other. It was like an after school program on Wednesday evenings that we had to go to like at church. So my mom was like, you have to keep going to this until 8th grade. In 8th grade, you can decide if you want to get confirmed or not, which is like, if you're not Catholic, it's like, I don't know, like a rite of passage in 8th grade, like choosing for yourself to be Catholic, essentially. I was like, oh my God, like, okay, whatever. I guess it's just one night a week. So I had to literally keep going until 8th grade. Finally, 8th grade rolls around and I'm like, no, I still don't want to do this. Like, I'm choosing not to do this. My mom's like, okay. So she did keep up her end of the bargain, which is great. And then from that point forward, I actually ended up moving out and living with my dad and moving states. And I mean, it's kind of a long story, but from there, first of all, as a very young child, I have always been like very, very intuitive. Like I like knew things before I knew things and I didn't know why I knew them. And yeah, it was wild. And my mom always would like convince me that I was crazy and that like that's not real and like you're not actually like seeing things or hearing things. And to me, basically that started to develop a fear within me. Like I literally was like, oh my God, I'm crazy. And whenever I would go visit my dad and my stepmom was very, very, very spiritual and like, don't need to get into it, but maybe on another episode. She was very, very spiritual and sometimes not in like the most productive ways I feel now. But back then, I think that it truly did allow me to explore that side of my being a little bit more as a child. And then I would come back and be with my mom and she would be like, what the fuck are they telling you? Like, they're crazy. Don't listen to them. They're manipulating you, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I was constantly convinced as a child that I was crazy. And so I learned to shut that shit off because I didn't want to be looked at as crazy in my family. And then after 8th grade, I went and moved with my dad. And during middle school, 7th, 8th grade, I actually found out that I was Jewish by blood because long story short, I'm a Russian Jew. And I found that out. I didn't know that before because my mom had always raised me Catholic. And so listen, I know all the things about all the teachings in the Christian Catholic Church. Like, then I found out I was Jewish and I was like, wait, I want to learn more about this. Like, I want to learn more about this heritage. And as I started learning more, I said, oh my God, like, wait, some of these teachings resonate way more because essentially all of the things in the quote unquote Old Testament that like Christianity teaches made way more sense to me than everything in the New Testament, which is everything about like Jesus and all of that stuff. And so anyway, I was part of a Jewish synagogue, a Reform synagogue for years through high school and through part of college. And it felt really resonant. It felt very supportive. I loved it so much. It was amazing. It made so much sense to me. And it was a very family-oriented thing. Like we would always go on Friday evenings to service with like my stepmom, my dad, and my brother. And then eventually, another long story short, I feel like I keep saying that, but I'm trying really hard not to like go into all the nitty gritty details because I'm a storyteller. I always do that. And I don't think it's necessary right now for this message that I'm trying to get across in this episode. Basically, they ended up separating and I just was like, okay, well, this was a very family oriented thing. And like, it's just not really feeling aligned to go to temple by myself. So I'm just not going to go. And so I kind of stopped and I kind of like stepped away, not necessarily completely from Judaism, but just like from going to synagogue. Hold on, I need some tea. Oh, Earl Grey, my heart. Okay. That really hit the spot. First sip. So then from when I was like 20 years old on, I'm 31 now. So for the last like 10 or 11 years, my understanding of spirituality and faith has evolved exponentially. And I have tuned back into my own gifts. I have been able to share that with the world. I have been able to help so many clients by utilizing my gifts of tuning into energetic frequencies and spirit guides and intuitive guidance and all of the things. And I'm very grateful for that. And my understanding of religion, like I said, has shifted because I think that they all started with good foundational teachings. I really do. All of them. And honestly, now that I say that, like I even think that most cults actually start out that way. But then again, it's the money and the power that starts getting to these leaders' heads, and then things start getting really corrupt. And I genuinely think that most religions, most churches have a lot of similarities to modern day cults. So all of that to say, I am no stranger to the concept of Jesus. It's not like I don't know who Jesus was and that I truly believe he was a real person. I really believe that he had some really powerful teachings and he was trying his best to be like, guys, wake the fuck up. Like there's more than this and we're all connected and love. And so anyway, back to this original story, I responded to this person on Facebook and I said he was a charismatic teacher. Again, her question was, who is Jesus? I said he was a charismatic teacher who understood that we are all one consciousness. He taught about love, compassion, humility, and the lessons of this human existence. But his teachings and words got twisted over centuries. And then she finally responded. It took her a while. I saw her typing for a long time and I was like, does this girl like not know what to say? And she said, I agree that he taught about love, compassion, humility, and the lessons of this human existence, and that his words have been twisted by people as well. I know I barely know you, but I felt like I should have asked you that. I do believe Jesus is the Son of God. Thanks for being willing to talk about it. On another note, I'm glad you're happy, LOL. So I'm like, okay, well, you know what? At least like she said her piece. She, again, intuitively felt like she needed to reach out. She intuitively felt like she needed to pray for me. Amazing. You know what? Follow your intuition. I was genuine in saying, I appreciate the extra vibes. Why not? Hell yeah. And so I really appreciated that she said her piece and then she said her belief and she's like, all right, cool. Glad you're happy. I'm like, great. So I sent a bunch of hearts and I said, sending you love. I personally believe that he was an old school hippie who was tapped into divine consciousness. Doesn't really matter exactly where he came from, just that he was trying to better this world along with lots of others that have walked this planet. I believe this to my fucking core, like to my core. I don't doubt he was a real person. I don't doubt his teachings. I think that shit has gotten spun way out of control and that Christian and Catholic and all the denominations of churches have just gotten money hungry and gotten power hungry. And then it's turned into this corrupt thing. And I think unfortunately that is just part of humanity. Like, you know, the Christians talk a lot about original sin of like Adam and Eve, like eating the apple or whatever, and not listening to God to like not do it. And I think that that is just a story to teach us. Like we all have parts of ourselves, like shadow sides that we have to constantly work against. And it doesn't mean that we're bad. It doesn't mean that we're doing anything wrong. But that's something that I feel like religion gets wrong. They convince you that you're bad if you do like one thing, or you're never going to get forgiven, or you're going to hell, or whatever. You're not going to get an afterlife. So I felt really called to record this episode to shine a little light on it. And if you are really religious and you're still listening, I really appreciate you for listening, because I think it's really important for everyone to hear each other out. I do think that, yes, of course, you know, we have freedom of speech. We should be able to share the things on our heart, the things that we intuitively really feel. And if you really intuitively feel that Jesus was the Son of God and all of like the teachings in that way, fine. The issue I have is when people try to shove their beliefs down other people's throats. And I don't think this girl was doing that. I really don't. I think that she felt intuitively like she needed to reach out. She said her piece, I said my piece, and that was that. And there was love there. There truly was nothing but love. And I really appreciated that. And that's why I wanted to share. Because I absolutely have experiences in my life where I could have drawn on those and said, oh my God, she's attacking me. Why the hell would she want to pray for me? Like, what is wrong with her? Why is she trying to shove her beliefs down my throat? But I have the self-awareness and I have the compassion to say, no, she wasn't trying to do that. She was being genuine. She was saying what's on her heart. And I applaud that. I honor that with every fiber of my being. My issue is when other people are trying to convince people of their own beliefs. And I want to make it really clear that me right here, right now, talking about my beliefs is not me trying to shove mine down your throat at all. It's simply having a conversation. And I really think that most people can agree that we are souls in bodies having a human experience and that we're connected to something higher than this vessel. I think that like probably 90+% of the world can agree on that in some way. And I also was thinking earlier about how this also pertains to politics, because unfortunately politics and religion are so intertwined nowadays that with politics, people also feel so inclined to shove their beliefs down other people's throats. And how sickening it is, genuinely, to me, that anyone thinks that anyone has a say in someone else's views or beliefs and experiences. I genuinely believe that every single one of us should have full autonomy over our own body, our own life. Complete autonomy. Because what I do does not actually, in the grand scheme of things, affect you. If it's literally just, if I am making a choice that I believe only affects me in relation to politics, like if someone voted for Trump, for instance, it is not my fucking business. At the end of the day, I will never understand. I will never understand how you could vote for someone like that. However, I'm not going to sit here and badmouth you or shame you for doing so, because obviously something within you and your moral compass thought it was okay and sees it as okay. And I am never going to understand that. But as long as you are not sitting there trying to shove that down my throat that I should have voted for him, I could give two fucks what you're doing. Go live your life. Go be happy. If that decision made you happy, please, by all means. We're so conditioned to be on one side or another in all aspects. Are you religious or are you not? Are you Democrat? Are you Republican? Are you pro-life? Are you pro-choice? Are you pro-immigration? Are you against immigration? Like, oh my God. It is exhausting. Like, no wonder we are living with so much fucking dysregulation in this entire country, much less the entire world. No fucking wonder. But instead of waking up and rising up and becoming a collective again, full of love and good energy and compassion and gratitude, a lot of us are instead turning to things like social media and attacking other people for their beliefs, attacking other people for what they're trying to put good out into the world. Assuming, oh my God, the assumptions make me even more sick. For instance, assuming that just because someone is spiritual, they are preying on vulnerable people and they're just trying to make money. An example of that, I recently posted on the Shambhala Music Festival group about the fact that Max and I are in the process of creating a conscious collective of people who want to make their festival experience more conscious, more intentional. Meaning they know that the festival experience can be a very spiritual experience, but they want to like walk away with that. They don't want it to just be locked in at the festival and then go home and then go about their daily life and forget all the magic. And I posted about this, and I posted a little bit vaguely because I don't know exactly what it's going to look like yet. I just wanted to test the waters and see who would be interested in something like that, because our vision is masterclasses and community calls that are free and retreats. And like, yes, some of it might make us money, but that's not why we're doing it. We're doing it because we've been in this collective, in this community for 13 plus years each. And it feels really important because we're 31 and we're still going to festivals. We still plan on going to festivals our entire life because it's so fucking powerful and magical and spiritual. And we want other people to get that same experience. But there was one particular person that decided to comment on that, and I'm not going to read through them, but she basically started attacking us, saying, how dare you prey on people? You're being so vague. You're just telling people to send their email. How dare you? You're preying on this community. You're the problem with this community. And this person I've never seen in my life. We aren't even friends on Facebook. We've never interacted before. And they decided in their own mind that because we are part of the spiritual community that we are bad and preying on people. Now, if you're listening to this podcast and or you know me in person or through social media, you know that is the complete fucking opposite of what I am. And I have even helped other people get out of toxic spiritual relationships with their teachers or practitioners. But this person has obviously had their own experiences and perceptions that has led them to believing that. And still, even with that, I led with compassion and love and said, I am so sorry if something has led you to believe da 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 da. I am sending you nothing but love. You never actually asked what we were offering. You just assumed that we're just trying to make money. You could have just asked. You could have just said, hey, what exactly is it that you're offering? Because this is kind of vague. And I would have told her. But she chose to assume and do exactly what society and the powers that be want us to do, which is assuming and jumping the gun and leading with hate and fear and not hearing the other person's side out. So I think that like all this podcast episode came about because of the last couple of days of having those experiences. Just needed that moment. My nervous system is like, hello, we need a break for a second. I'm going to sip some tea. Maybe you sip some tea or take a deep breath with me. I'm realizing right now that my podcast episodes up until today have been pretty honestly planned. Like, I feel like I always have so much to say that I kind of make myself an outline because I'm like, where am I going to go with these points? How am I going to make sure I don't get off track and go on a million tangents, which I still do sometimes. But today was like off the wall, literally no outline, just speaking straight from the heart and the soul. And I know that that's what needs to happen even more on this podcast in order for it to reach the right souls and the right ears and the right hearts and the right minds and the right bodies. Anyway, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I would love to hear if this resonates with you. I would love to see some comments and or some reviews talking about how this podcast resonates with you. I would love to talk to you outside of here. I've talked about this before, but I also offer one-on-one coaching, intuitive coaching sessions where I would love for you to do one session and then walk away with all the wisdom you need in that moment, in that season of life. However, I also offer like 6 session packs where we can work together every week for 6 weeks. And oh my God, sky is the fucking limit. And I also host conscious retreats. The next one will be pretty soon. We aren't quite ready to fully announce yet, but I kind of alluded to it just now when I was talking about conscious festival experiences. So it's like festival vibes with all kinds of holistic practices and community and DJs. So keep an ear out for that. And if there are any other type of offerings that you've been looking for that you're like, I just haven't found the right offering or I haven't found the right person that has this offering, please reach out to me because maybe it feels aligned to create something like that for you, whether it be a course or a piece of content or a podcast episode. I would love to provide for you. That is literally why I'm on this planet. So before I leave you, I want to give you some tangible tips because I really like leaving you with that. I want to give you some tangible tips about how you can tap into divine consciousness throughout the day. Because it doesn't have to be complicated. And the more that we learn and practice tapping into that divine consciousness, that thread that is between and through every single one of us, the more light we can bring into this world by bringing in more light into your being, into your life. The more light you shine within yourself, the brighter the world around you will shine. And then the brighter that world around that will shine. I guess let's backtrack for a second though. What is divine consciousness? Why is it important for us to tap into? To me, divine consciousness is like I said, that really deep underlying connection that ties everything together. Ties every living thing together. People, nature, energy, everything that is living in this existence. And tapping into that divine consciousness is like when you are feeling so completely in the moment, when everything just feels peaceful and whole and meaningful. When you tap into that part of yourself, it's like you know that you're not your thoughts, you're not your mind, you're not your body or your job or your role or your responsibilities or the material things that you have in this lifetime. You are your own home. You have inner wisdom. You have a piece of this universal energy or presence within you that is loving, that is infinite, that is wise, that is grateful. that is compassionate, that is pure fucking love. When you are tapped into divine consciousness, there's this state of awareness that happens where your heart is open, where you can easily see the beauty and the sacredness in everything around you. You don't have to look for it. It's simply there. It simply is. Even in like the very simplest moments. And this feeling is actually in the small things. While yes, one-on-one sessions, spiritual retreats, master classes are all really helpful in learning to access this, you don't actually need these things. I like to think of those things as like the highway to accessing divine consciousness within yourself. However, in the meantime, until you come to one of my retreats, you can practice this on your own. It's in all of the little small moments in your day-to-day existence. It's finding moments of unity, of oneness, of awareness, love, compassion, this like inner compass, this inner knowing, tapping into that guidance and just being in a state of sacred presence. So all that being said, how can we actually, in those little moments throughout the day, tap into that divine consciousness, that thread between all living beings? That energy that is always present, that we can't necessarily see with our eyes, but we can feel with our hearts and our beings. Some of these might feel a little bit cliche, but please really take these into your heart. Don't roll your eyes. Don't say, yeah, she said that before. I've heard that before. Breathe with me for just a moment. We're going to do this together. We're going to focus on the inhale and the exhale 3 times. And we're going to imagine that we're breathing in light from the universe, from God, and we're breathing out any tension in your body, in your being, in your mind. Okay? Two more deep breaths. Setting an intention with every breath. Maybe it's a new one every breath. Maybe it is the same one every breath, something like love or clarity or peace or compassion or gratitude. And one more. Mindfully breathing in light and releasing tension. There it is, number 1. And now that you're feeling a little bit more peace in your body, let's pause and practice gratitude. Just 3 things you're grateful for in this exact moment. You might look around and see things, material things that you're grateful for. You might look inward and recognize thoughts or emotions that you're grateful for and people that you're grateful for. Let's take a moment. 3 things. Feeling into that energy as you are expressing these things you're grateful for. If you're alone, or even if you're not alone and you don't give a fuck, say it out loud or write it down. Maybe in your phone, maybe you have a piece of paper next to you. Maybe you can type it out on your computer, wherever you are. 3 things. It's really simple. It really is. I'm grateful for the fresh flowers in my home. I'm grateful for my super cuddly dog sleeping next to me. And I'm grateful to be able to share this wisdom with you on this platform. No holds barred. Next one, connection with nature. Spend a moment appreciating nature around you. I'm in my home right now. It is pouring rain outside. I appreciate the rain, the sound of the rain. I appreciate all of the plants in my home for bringing such beautiful energy here and for helping to purify the air. So spending time with a tree, a houseplant, some mushrooms. Sorry, I just really love mushrooms and being able to bring that nature into my body. No, I'm not on mushrooms right now. Maybe you spend some time looking up at the sky, looking at the raindrops on your window. Maybe you spend some real time grounding, earthing, putting your bare feet to the earth if you can, holding snow in your hand, depending on where you are, sand, looking at a sunset, sunrise, the moon, the stars, Acknowledge the divine essence in nature and how that essence of nature is reflected right back into you. Those things that you appreciate about nature are parts of you. Reflect that back to yourself. That's how we can really tap into that connection. Another option, tangible tips, I'm all about them, is a silent prayer or affirmation. It could be something so simple like, I am connected to the divine. I trust the universe's flow. That's a super simple affirmation. Or it could be some prayer, something that you're asking for, something that you are grateful for. I think that a lot of times we're conditioned, I have been conditioned in the Catholic Church to pray for things that I want. But you can also pray for things that you already have, that you are grateful for more of something. Something else that you can do is check in with your body. Notice any sensations that are happening throughout your body. Place your hand on your stomach or your heart. I personally like to put one on my stomach and one on my heart. One lower on my stomach. I would say more like my pelvis area. Thank your body for carrying you through this life. Another thing we're so conditioned in this society is to believe that our body is always out to get us, that our body hates us. Well, you know what our body actually hates is the shit we're putting into it. Okay, that's a whole other podcast episode. Take a moment. Your body has gotten you so fucking far. No matter the hardships you've been through with your body works really fucking hard to house this, to be a vessel of your soul. Your soul is so fucking powerful. It's a lot to house, okay? Your body works really hard to be able to house that soul. A couple of other really simple ways to tune into divine consciousness is an act of kindness, doing something to uplift someone else. Smile at someone on the street. Say a compliment to someone in the store. Hold space for a friend. Text someone that you're grateful for them or that you love them. Check in with someone that you believe is strong that might still need to be checked on. This is recognizing that thread of consciousness between each one of us and between the divine and each one of us. A simple visualization is one of my favorite ways to tap into divine consciousness. I imagine a golden, like honey-like light or a white light right above your head, flowing right through your body and surrounding you. So I literally visualize it coming straight down from the universe, straight into my crown chakra, down through my third eye, through my throat, through my heart, through my solar plexus, through my sacral chakra, and then through my root chakra, and picturing that root chakra growing roots literally straight down into the earth, connecting me to this home that we have right here, right now, as well as that divine consciousness. Super simple, could literally take you 10 seconds. And if you practice that throughout every day, oh my God, you will be so fucking tuned in. You'll be like, wait, what is all of this going on? And as I'm saying this, it's 12:12 on the dot. Hello, angels. And one final way, intentional check-ins. Maybe you set alarms or reminders throughout your day that are labeled with like little prompts like breathe, tune in, tap into your consciousness. You are whole. Maybe you pair the affirmations with something like these check-ins. I personally really like, there's this app called I Am. If you don't have it, I highly recommend it. It gives you little reminders. You can set like when it gives you the reminders throughout the day of little affirmations, and they're always different. And you can also make it as a widget on your home screen. So right now mine says all I need to do right now is breathe. And it gives you all different ones throughout the day. I really love it. It's a really great way to tap into presence. And I'm sure there are other types of apps out there that can like help you with specific like reminders to just be mindful throughout your day. I know Apple Watch also has like mindfulness reminders. The interesting part about all of these is that these are also ways to regulate your nervous system. And think about it. When we're regulating our nervous system, we're bringing more light. We're bringing more peace to our system, which means we can bring more peace to the world around us, which means everything gets brighter. It's all connected. Everything is so fucking interconnected. Everything in this existence is so connected. And the sooner that we get all of us and everyone around us to wake up to that, the more peace and harmony we will all continue to live in. I personally choose to interact as little as possible with all of like the conspiracy theories and media and all these things that we're being fed. I feed myself just enough to stay informed as much as I need to, and then I tune it all out because I don't want to know more. I already know what I need to know, which is that our biggest job is to shine light in this world. Anyway, I am sending you so much fucking love and light. I think I've said my piece. I feel like I could go forever on this, but I feel like that pretty much wraps up most of my thoughts in what feels like Cliff Note versions to me because I, like I said, could keep going. But I don't want this to get too long. I really like that my podcast episodes are pretty short and digestible, so I'm going to keep it at this. I am always sending you immense amounts of light and love wherever you are in your journey. Oh my God, I just got such a big rush of energy. I have goosebumps up and down my arms, my chest. Whew. Feeling that energy with you, babe. I am so happy that you tuned in here today. I am so grateful. I am so humbled to be here, to be a light on your journey. When I say reach out, I really mean it. If you're feeling that energy like I just did, reach out, please. I will not ever think you're crazy for reaching out. I will not ever judge you for anything that you need to share. This is a safe space. This is a sacred space that we build together. We co-create. We are all just souls walking each other home, and it's a really beautiful thing to be able to do together. So until next time, keep shining, keep aligning, and I'll talk to you on the next episode. Bye, beautiful souls.